Well, build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers, sponsored by Leith Spirits. I'm Mai.
Hello, I'm Colin.
All right, I'm John.
This is our 248th episode, and I think that's the most enthusiastic I've seen you both at the start of one of them.
Hey, I'm always just implementing the feedback we receive.
And it's good to get the feedback. But I liked it. I liked the introduction, I have to say, like for both of you. It's a far cry from when we were sending people to sleep. If you remember, we got that feedback. Was that on hibs.net?
We can never please everyone all the time, can we? Like, someone's always got a bit of constructive criticism for us.
No,
we need a clear out. That's what we need. We need another window.
Your positions are on a sugary peg. I'm all for a bit of that for the listeners. It was good. And I've forgotten who said it on the bounce as well, because I was going to give them Green Juventus. Yeah, I was going to give you a shout out for it as well. So thank you for your kind comments on the bounce. And for everybody else.
I fucking can remember.
And everybody else who chipped in on that thread as well, which was much appreciated. Right, what have we got to talk about tonight? We've got Inverness yesterday. Now, in the interest of total transparency, we've seen the 8 minutes of highlights that everybody else has seen.
I've seen them twice though, so is that count
right?
16?
Yeah, I've watched them a couple of times, and actually the all access highlights that Hibs put out. I think is it Lewis Forford that does the camera for that. I think I've got the right name there. Apologies if I've just name checked the wrong person for it.
I'm sure it's Lewis Forford. I actually know his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Any good stories?
Gregor, if you're listening, hiya.
Oh, there you
go. Steak pie, Gregor.
Steak pie.
Gregor,
he used to
just followed us on TikTok. I got a notification, so I can know who you're talking about. So definitely hello.
The reason I call him Steak Pie Gregor, he used to do a steak pie run up to McGill's in Curry's, if I remember right. Around about Christmas time, so everyone would be getting in their mince round steak pies and that for Christmas. So that was a good time.
Nice one. The glory days, eh?
So
we're kind of I don't suppose we'll go in depth to the game, because it would be a bit of like, we did consider blagging it and just no mentioning that we hadn't been up. And to be fair, we've done it before on games where we've seen very little. And generally we are at the games, but we have been known to now and again just chance it. And nobody's been able to tell the difference. That's probably not a good sign either. Eh?
We'll never talk about the good bits anyway.
No, we
or
never
the bad
bits. Right, well,
we'd have been fucked if Hibs had got beat yesterday. We went, well, fuck, I don't know, I wasn't there. Couldn't see it.
No, we did just get a pile on
if there was no coverage at all from what you mean. Well, I listened on the radio, and that was fun. I mean, what we had pretty much was 45 minutes and a little bit of the second half of the BBC hoping, like, fuck, that we were going to lose. And then just kind of suffering the rest of the game as we didn't lose and went on to win.
Why do you think the BBC seemed so keen and sounded so keen for Hibs to lose?
Well, yesterday they had John Robertson on co-coms, right? Now,
but his family are all Hibbies.
Aye, but he's no. He maybe was when he was wee, but he's no now, right? And he worked at Inverness. Do you know, like, listen,
is that BBC's tokenism? Like they've managed to tick two boxes with one person there, so like the license payers getting
just a
good value for money.
Saves expenses because they're already up there.
And listen, I have zero problem with folk being partisan on the BBC. I think some folk get their knickers in a twist about it because that person supports that team or whatever, but you wouldn't be in that job covering the football if you weren't a football fan. So it's kind of natural, and I think it's more authentic that you've got fans there. But the flip side of that is we can be quite happy when they're wanting us to lose and then we didn't. Like, I think that's fair game as well. And I think, John, to answer your question, we were the obvious, apart from Livingston, we were the obvious scalp at the weekend. Like, if they were picking out a shock, everybody thought Inverness were going to beat us, and everybody thought Partick were going to beat Livy, and everybody was wrong. So, there. Right. We can talk about the things that we know about. Right. Starting lineup. John, there was a couple of changes. I'll get your view on it first, right? So the lineup was Marshall, back four in Miller, Fish, Piantis, and Obita. The midfield was Newell, Mariah Welsh, and Amos. And up front we had Mizian. I forgot
Mizian, my leader.
Yeah, Mizian. Sorry, and we got told how to pronounce that as well. And I'm literally reading it. And Mizian and Mayenda.
How is it you get all the plaudits for being this amazing host when you can't get folks' names right? And we get pulled up because we're no enthusiastic.
I don't know. It's
so bad.
Do you know?
I think folk are listening.
It's because you're fans, Chief. Eh?
Nobody pays attention, John. It's like I watched a thing that LBC, you know, with James O'Brien on it. Like I kind of watched a few things generally because he's getting stuck into the Tories, not get political. And he was making the point on the video that I watched last night that they're all idiots. He said, but that kind of 30p Lee gets abused because he sounds thick, whereas folk didn't notice it with Jacob Rees-Mogg. But he says things that are just as stupid. But because he dresses like a Victorian lamppost and he speaks with a posh voice, folk kind of go like they just ignore what he's saying and just kind of treat it with respect. So I don't know if it's the same thing, John. Maybe I don't think I sound particularly posh, but I maybe just
are you trying to say you sound like Jacob Rees-Mogg?
No. But I noticed it since I've started wearing the glasses. But folk have forgotten the stupid things that I say.
That's occasionally why I wear them, just to like mix and match.
See, now that you've lost the work motor, Matty, can we expect to see you driving about or getting about Dunfermline on a penny farthing?
By the way, that's a decent shout. It's not far off that stage. You should hear the car that I'm driving about now. It's like hear it before you see it. The quality. Right. Anyway, starting lineup. What were your thoughts? Right, Colin, I'll come to you because I was going to go to John first.
You tried to ask him.
But we've gone away off on a tangent. The whole episode isn't going to be like this, by the way. If you're listening, going, hope they start talking about the football soon. That chat's starting now.
It absolutely is. If you start asking me questions, then immediately divert to Colin when I give you a hard time.
If we're looking at that thread for feedback, though, folk want Neil and that to be funny. So, right.
That was also true, though. It was funnier back in the day. Like, I totally 100% agreed with that feedback.
We're not here to be fucking funny, are we? Hibs are getting beat. We're here to fucking hammer them.
Sometimes,
although if we're allowed to, if Hibs allow us to.
Unless Ben's listening.
Yeah. Right, team. I thought, oh, that's good. We're getting all the new names in. Kind of like you could start seeing the signings coming in, like because I think Mariah Welsh, Amos both started, didn't they?
Yeah.
And Mayenda was in, so you're starting to see the new team come about because I know there's been loads of chat about formations and all that, but I think the formation was that different. In fact, it was in a group chat earlier that the formation was the same as last weekend when we got pumped off St Mirren. It's just that the players are different players, and as Freddie the show Dave Graham's been saying, we just need better players, and it is. We've just got better players. And however, having said that, I did get a rundown for somebody that was at the game because I thought I'd better do a wee bit of research. So I do know somebody was at the game. My brother-in-law Charlie was at the game, and he told me, and he thought the team got better when Levitt was on the park.
Yeah.
But my thoughts were, a lot of changes. That's good because that was almost the team that maybe finished the second half on Wednesday night. Marconde is still to come in as well somewhere. Don't know who for, but looking promising.
What were you, John? What were your thoughts on
it? So I've just noticed that Levitt started on the bench, and after Colin's comment there, I didn't realise that because I never picked it up during the highlights that I watched. So was it Mariah Welsh that partnered Newell in the middle?
And Amos.
And Amos as well. Sorry, okay, right. I suppose what I'd pick up for the lineup is it probably touches a little bit on what Colin said there, which is I think earlier this season we saw maybe the first game in however many games of Hanlon and Stevenson not being in the starting lineup, and I think that's becoming more commonplace now, and you're starting to see more of that shift towards the future and kind of leaving the past behind. I think
Funny
it's
though, because I've noticed it was the defence. The defence was just the same as it's been. It was the midfield that seems to have had a bit more turnover here. Like, with the bodies. Hanlon and Stevenson were kind of already out the team even when we were getting beat. So I wouldn't want Hanlon and Stevenson being out the team to be seen as the reason why we've been better the last couple of games, because we were out it when we were getting beat as well.
No, it was more just a sort of general observation, and like you say about the turnover in midfield or the new personnel and the better players that Dave Graham had mentioned. It is more. I think we are starting to see more since that January transfer window of that transition towards something completely different. Because if you look at the team, you've got like Boyle's probably a regular
Like a
and has
new
been a
signing,
regular
John.
for a number of years, and like the rest of the names are all pretty much relatively, if not brand new.
And I think that's what we've been missing. Like I can't remember where I posted it earlier on today, but it was like we, as fans, and not just Hibs fans, like every team's fans would do the same. We're not very good at like cutting a manager slack, even when results aren't very good. And I think there's probably a few of us underestimated the impact of having Rocky, Boyle, and Miller. Like those three, less so Walcott because he wasn't really playing anyway. But having those three out of the team for the period of time that we did, and although the kind of declining form started just before they left, I think the fact that we didn't recover until we had them back and I'm including Celtic's defeat. Like I came and lost on Wednesday, but the performance was good. But you saw a difference on Saturday, and you wonder like if we'd had them available all the way through January, whether we would have had some of the discussions that we'd had about the manager's future, etc.
I wonder how many, if they'd been available throughout that slump in the January transfer window, I wonder how many bodies would have been brought in. Like, would the targets that we had and the moves that we were trying to make, would they have been the same?
It's a good question. I think we would have still went for like Amos and Mariah Welsh, who we'll just call Welsh just for ease. I don't know if that's disrespectful or not.
It's just for ease of your pronunciation.
I know. Is it disrespectful just to kind of unilaterally shorten somebody's name? We're going to do it anyway. Well, Ken, who we're talking about, and if it is disrespectful, I'll
What's
apologise.
his first name? Go with that.
Nathan.
Go with Nathan. Let's call him Nathan.
That's a nice name, is it? It's like,
it's an easy one, eh?
It is.
Go with that.
It is. So I think to go back to the point about the system, I don't think we had the players to play the way that Montgomery's playing now until we brought them in, because the difference in style of Mariah Welsh and Amos is that they're energetic and they buzz about the place and they get stuck in far more than Newell and Levitt do. So I think it just means they're more naturally suited to the shape that we played on Saturday.
One of the things that I picked up for the highlights was that Hibs seemed to be pressuring Inverness far more than I've seen them do previous teams. But I go back to the comments I made last week about being conflicted about the Celtic game, which is if you're capable of it against a team like Inverness, you should be capable against it, capable of that against other teams.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we? And is it just a personnel thing that we haven't had that energy in midfield previously? And I guess it's going to be the challenge. That's going to be one of your, I don't know what to say, like KPIs. So it's going to be one of the things that you're looking for in future, because that energy is wasted if you're not forcing players into misplacing passes and putting them under pressure.
So I think it's a good point, John. We probably carried on from where we left off against Celtic. I think based on what you say, their observations where we're snapping into Inverness on Saturday, and that's maybe something that's been missing for the team's play over the last wee while. So we did it against Celtic and then did it yesterday.
I thought during the Celtic game, one of the things that I observed about them was their two centre halves. It was Scales and I forget who the other boy was, but McGregor was kind of dropping deep to collect the ball, and then he was bringing other players into the team. But the centre halves were over the halfway line in our half, and I've seen that a couple of times in the highlights. That makes me think or makes me wonder how much the new players have allowed a more expansive form of football for Hibs.
What do you think, Colin?
I think when it was Newell and Levitt in the midfield, it was just D2. It appears there's an extra body in there, and it's two guys in addition to Newell that are running about. You know what I mean? I think there's no doubt about that. It's like even that second half on Wednesday night against Celtic. You seen Newell. Newell looked a different player when he had a bit of. He wasn't having to just stay there and like knock the ball 5 yards. He was getting up and down the park. He was putting crosses and he was putting balls in. It just changed the dynamic of the team. Like it always looked like the problem. Like we were sitting watching it, going, "This is fucking dull as fuck." Like they're getting overrun, they're getting swamped. They're just standing there knocking the ball about. They're not actually doing anything. Now you've got two boys in there that are doing loads of running, and well, three boys because Neil runs about a lot, doesn't he? So.
Giannis, yes, they seem to have continued to improve. Like I know he had a tricky game against St Mirren. You know, we probably had like a debut you'd want to forget. On Wednesday night, he'd conceded the penalty against Celtic, but I thought he actually had quite a good game. He looked pretty solid from what I've seen of him, and from what the radio were saying on Saturday. So potentially another missing piece of the jigsaw there, John.
Aye, potentially. I thought the big thing to call out for his performance was his ball for Boyle. I had to go back and watch it a second time because I wasn't sure if it was off his left foot or if he's checked back onto his right. I'd hoped it was on his left because then you think that's us. We've got the left-sided centre half sorted out, or the left-footed left-sided. But no, he has actually checked back onto his right and pinged a really good ball over for Boyle.
Let's talk about the goals. My leader got the first one. Similar to his goal against Kelly, sort of picking it up in that area. Colin, do you want to talk us through it?
Excuse me. Levitt maybe played the ball at him. He turned and put Carragher on his arse, and it looked like he opened a huge gap up, but it was really just because he sent Carragher. Like he just fucking went and then deflection took it over the keeper because I don't think it wasn't going in if Edinburgh took the deflection, but it created a load of room for himself. I've been quite impressed with him. I even thought in the first game when he played, was it Rangers at home? Was his first game? And he played the first half and we were saying, he doesn't look fit and all that. And there was a bit of noise about him. I actually thought he looked all right. He missed the chance at the start of the second half, but and I hope I'm not being revisionist because I think I maybe said it on the podcast, but I thought he looked all right as much as he didn't look fit. But he's kind of got up to speed pretty quickly with 3-4 games in. So he made the difference on Wednesday night, and he's got the first goal to take the pressure off yesterday.
And it was a lovely drop of the shoulder. I think you need to give Levitt some credit as well because he's played it and then run for the return pass, John. But just like Colin said, totally sold Carragher a dummy. My leader in his interview after the game seemed to suggest he reckoned the shot was going in, Colin, so he might take issue with you.
Shite. He could go in the laundry box with that fucking turn against Luzerna.
But that was definitely a proper turn. We'll go back
I don't believe you, box. That's where that's gone.
Just for you, I believe you if you're listening. Second goal, John, you mentioned it there, the ball over for Boyle. Do you want to talk us through it?
Hi, it was just Hibs knocking the ball about a wee bit at the back, and then, like I say, Trantis gets on his left, comes back on his right, fires the ball over for Boyle, and I think he gets a wee bit fortunate because I think the Inverness player has a wee slip, doesn't quite get the ball, but Boyle pounces on it round the keeper, slots in the back of the net. I think it probably came at a good time as well because it didn't come too long after. Fuck, I forgot his name already. My leader's goal, so it kind of like cemented things at that point for us.
I think when you get the second one in a game like that, it sort of takes the wind out of the Inverness's sails because at 1-0 they're still in it. 2-0 was a bit a bigger task for them to come back in. And calling the third goal.
That was Boyle down the wing and then square ball for Ewan, wasn't it? Ewan to tap it in. I think BBC gave him on the graphic the goal. The commentator was desperate to give it to, I think, Carragher.
Was it Carragher?
Or was it Carragher?
Whoever was, I'm not sure if it was Carragher.
I just assumed because Carragher and OGs, that's kind of a thing that goes together. But whoever the commentator, I think it was Paul Mitchell, maybe was saying it was a defender. But the graphic came up, Yuan. I think it's close enough to give him the
I
goal.
didn't realise.
So it's just pretty decent, bit of pace in the wing and a tap in the middle. So.
I didn't realise that when I saw that Carragher had been booked, and it was James Carragher. I was going to make a joke about it being Jamie Carragher's laddie, not knowing that it is actually Jamie Carragher's laddie. And then I saw in the highlights that he was in the stand. And if Carragher was involved in the third, and he's been involved in the first, and he's had a booking, like, I wonder how much pressure he had on him with his old man being in the stands. Was he desperate to impress? Has he just had a bit of a mind fart, a brain fart when he's said some of those things? Because I thought the first goal, I thought Maulida has been pretty clever, because, like you say, Levitt's played him in, and I thought it was part Maulida letting Carragher dive in, and part kind of letting the ball do the work. He just allowed things to open up in front of him without ever having to really do anything at all. And the third one, there was about 5 passes from back to front. Like, it was very, very direct, which is one of the things that we've been complaining about recently. Like, when you think back to, like, the St Mirren game, for example, where we've outnumbered them in terms of the number of passes, but never done anything with it. And we got the reverse of that yesterday. But again, challenge is do that in the games for the rest of the season and beyond.
We had plenty of other chances as well for the highlights. It doesn't look like we just kind of scraped through. It looked like a pretty comfortable win. We don't really suppose we need to dwell too much on Callie's goal. Like, it was just as the game was about to finish.
Raker.
Lovely finish, wasn't it?
Cross into the box though. And if we want to go in the negatives, they also hit the top of the bar with a cross into the box to the back post. The boys skimmed the bar, and then the one at the end was just a cross into the box, and the boys hit a peachy volley, but still 2 crosses into the box. One hit the bar, one hits the net. So,
right,
could say fucking same old shit, but just never cost us.
We never got punished.
But is that
you're going to give away chances in a game. That's it. Like, you're not going to concede every chance you get away.
I know, but we talk about typical Hibs goal. Now, the more times you do it, the more chance it being a. That's why it becomes a typical Hibs goal, because they're getting opportunities like that.
Aye.
Now, that wasn't it because it was a fucking raker of a finish. It wasn't just a header or like anything. You know what I mean? The boys caught it lovely, Best goal of the game.
Aye, it was. Before we got to that point, we had Chris Cadden coming back on. John, what difference will having Cadden available make to Hibs?
It's really hard to say, because we've talked about it recently with the number of players that we've got down the right-hand side. And we've talked about players coming at the side who have made a difference in terms of that dynamic that Colin talked about. So, but as much as I'm really pleased to see Cadden back and getting some game time in his legs, I'm curious to see in the games to come whether he provides refreshment in terms of personnel, or does he create a dynamic, like a problem in terms of the team dynamic. I'm not suggesting that he's going to just immediately walk back into the side. Just curious to see how much his presence benefits us.
There was a post on .net earlier on comparing the bench yesterday to the Motherwell game before the transfer window, because you can see the difference it's made having the players back. Right, so against Motherwell, goalkeeper was Johnson, and then outfield Stevenson, Harbottle, Jago, Molotnikov, McAllister, McCurdy, Landers, and Cleland, and that was with Whittaker, Hanlon, Levitt, and Doidge all starting. So it gives you an idea how much we cleared out. Yesterday it was Wallacott, Stevenson, Hanlon, Cadden, Levitt, Emiliano, Yuan, Vente, and Lafondre. So, like, it's a much different, much stronger team. Like, even just if you take the bench as an example, does it give you?
We spoke about that, didn't we? Like, we spoke about that at the time, like how weak the bench was, like the options.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Motherwell game at New Year? Like the 2nd of January, was it? Aye, it would be. Because I mind talking about the time, thinking, fucking hell, like, I think we brought McCurdy on.
Yeah.
It was like, just, they were saying he wasn't even ready, like, just because there was nobody else to bring on. So it's a big difference.
Looking at the starting 11 there and the bench that we had, and what you said about the the bench in the Motherwell game. How much of yesterday's starting 11 do you think would be the starting 11 in future games? Because I'm looking at the starting 11 and the bench and I'm thinking there's a lot of first teamers on the bench. And on the one hand, that's great because you've got first team players that can come in to the side, like the sort of like for like refreshments that were replacements that we've been looking for a while, but we haven't had.
Yeah. I think that's important, isn't it? It's a really good signing. Because when I looked at the team yesterday when it was announced, I think the only player that I thought should have been in the starting 11 that wasn't would have been Marcondes. But he was obviously not quite ready to start, and he played, I think, most of the second half. But you would think he would start more often than not. And it was going by the logic that Montgomery had said he'd wanted players to come in and impact the first team. And so if he was hanging his coat on these players coming in sort of rescuing the season, you need them starting. And he did that on Saturday. So I think what we saw on Saturday was more or less what we can expect to see as a starting 11 most weeks going forward through to the end of the season. With the exceptions, we've got the capacity now to rotate them a bit without dropping the quality of the team.
That's really
So you talking about a march up the table then between now and May?
I would
I
expect
hope so. It's just whether or not we've got enough games like that. That's the that's
We've
the
got enough
problem.
games to march up the table. It's just
Aye.
whether we get as high as we want to, because
Yeah.
there's, we're not that far off the teams in what, sixth, fifth, and fourth even, really.
Aye. Well, who happened? This Dundee beat St Johnstone today, didn't they?
Yeah.
Let's have a. Let's get the table up. So while I'm having a look at the table, do you think that? And again, it's hard to tell because we've only played Celtic where we got beat, and Inverness, who are a sort of mid-table championship side. But has this week, starting off with the shit show against St Mirren, has this week changed your perception of how the rest of the season might go? And if so, in what way?
It's changed my perception because it's give us a bit of hope, And I'm looking at the league table now, and we're 9 points behind St Mirren for fifth place, but we've got a game in hand. So that game in hand becomes we've got a game in hand now. Whereas last week we were saying that teams below us had games in hand. Now we're looking at who's. I think John's maybe flagged it before. But we're only 3 points off Dundee, right? So we could have done without them winning the day. Although I think if St Johnstone had won the day, we would have been below them. So either way, it's we can easily skip into the top six, right? And then it's just chasing down the rest. Hearts are gone, like that's 22 points. Fucking hell. I didn't realise it was that much. I've kind of stopped counting.
Neither did I until right now, to be
Holy
fair.
fuck.
Mentally,
Yeah, game in hand though.
Were we a point ahead of them in December?
There was a point where we started thinking, aye, fucking here we go, aye. Maybe when we beat Aberdeen.
Aye.
I think
What a mental turnaround there.
I think the thing about Hearts this season is, and like a lot of other seasons when it comes to, like, we didn't often hear third force in Scottish football anymore, but in my experience, watching that third force sort of emerge, it tends to be the team that's the most consistent, while the teams from fourth beyond just kind of take points off each other.
Mm.
And I think that's really evident this season because, in particular, like if we're going to apply things like when we finished third, it was a weak league. Well, is it a weak league this year? I think it is because both Hibs and Aberdeen have been all over the shop. And everyone else, I mean, I know that Livy are kind of like a wee bit far away, but there's been teams just picking up daft points here and there, but none of them have had the consistency that Hearts have had.
Hearts have won 15 games. Like, out of 25.
Aye, more than double us,
Like, that's fucking, nobody's even close to that, other than the top two, Anyway, fuck them.
Aye, fuck them.
But their form's the same. Like, if you look at the league table, with the exception of Celtic, who've won, I think they've won 4, drawn 1. They've got the same form as Rangers in the last 5 games. Like, it's shite, but that's why they are as many points as they are ahead of us.
Yeah.
So we get the chance to start clawing that back on Saturday where we travel to Pittodrie. Massive game, really, isn't it? Like, Aberdeen have got a couple of games in hand, but could really do with tucking them away. And kind of giving them food for thought rather than us getting pulled into the trouble at the bottom. So we I think spoke about the running games that we've got coming up. Maybe that's like a wee extra time for us to look at our next six.
The classic next six.
The fallback. But I mean, it's crucial, Colin. Like a draw is not really going to be enough there. We need to win on Saturday. Do you think, or will a draw do?
Well, a draw's to what, to keep us above Aberdeen or to aim to get above?
For our season.
Aye, I think a win's crucial for that, but I think a draw to keep us above Aberdeen's okay. They've got a game in. If they beat us, they go above us and they've got a game in hand, so it makes it really tough then, like to try and break the top six, because that's another team that's above us. So I think a win is pretty crucial. A draw would be no bad, but I think we've got to be looking for a win. Well, our record's not bad against them recently, so.
Where do you stand in it, John? Must win or must not lose?
It's tricky. Like I try and take the context of the game into account. So Colin's saying there that we've had a decent record at Pittodrie recently, and we have. Like, I think I remember the Doidge half volley, we won that one, and then when David Gray took temporary charge, I think before Montgomery came in,
Mm-hmm.
we won 2-0.
The mind is, but missed the penalty when we hammered them 0-0 last season.
Yeah. So, but I think overall, like, we didn't really have a good record at Pittodrie in general. So I'd say, in that sort of context, I'd say a point would probably be like all right. However, taking into account the conversation that we just had about looking at the league table and overtaking Dundee and that, you've got to be looking at a win. And I think if you're going to try and start turning the tide of shit results at Pittodrie, now would be a good time, because they're not, touchwood, a particularly good side. I didn't want to reverse Joe on it.
It's just reversing the trend of shit results in general, not just at Pittodrie, like the way the seasons going. I think, like, for Aberdeen seem to be, I know that I'm branding them a one-man team, but in the same way that Shanklin's pulling Hearts through to third, Miovski seems to be stopping Aberdeen getting into proper trouble. So we really need to have like a sort of game plan to stop him, because he seems to be scoring like Venny did at the start of the season. Just like he gets a chance, he gets a goal. That's it. He's not really needing 5 or 6 chances to score.
But hopefully that energy that we've got in midfield will make a difference, because that was the big difference in the cup game. The ball just broke in midfield, and that was it. Miovski was away because we couldn't catch up. Hopefully we can shut that down before anything like that emerges.
That's a good shout. I think it's one of these ones where the players need to be. You know, like we talked about the St Mirren game last week as being a must-win for top 6, so they didn't pull away, and we just never turned up at all. It needs to be one where they're absolutely laser focused to put on a performance and get a result. Quickly go through a couple of talking points, so you can tell the game wasn't shown on the TV or anything. Because we had, the Celtic game, I think we had over 100 talking points in. St Mirren game was the same. For this one, we've got 9. And one of them's about a cake.
So we won though. Aye.
Well,
if you get beat, it's always better.
There
better
is
for business.
That. So first one is Neil Renton says, never mind the game, what about the cake I made when I switched my phone off to avoid the score? And it does look like a nice cake. He's you can see that, like, if you're watching on YouTube.
To be quite honest,
I was just coming onto that. Like, it could have been a bit more. It's just attention to detail, Neil.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's like he's done it in a rush. He's acting there as if he's had all afternoon to do it, because he wasn't listening to the football and that. But it's almost like he was hurrying to do something else.
I don't think Prue Leith or Paul Hollywood are too concerned at this moment in time, but there's potential for him to be on Bake Off in future.
Maybe he can bring one to the changing rooms on the 26th when we're going to be there. He bring a nice cake for us.
If anybody else
make
wants
it
us
fucking
to,
better than that, Neil, because that looks fucking.
If anybody else wants us to rate your cake, we'll do it. Photos are all right, but we would prefer a slice. You know.
DM the Longbangers account so you can get our addresses. We're not going to be broadcasting that over there. I'll start getting hate mail.
Rate your cake, or buns, anything like that. A nice eclair.
Scones. I like a scone.
Oh, aye. Scone's decent.
Scone.
Pat Fry's image said, Lauders in the town before, good atmosphere amongst the fans at the ground. Lots of control in the game and midfielders pressed well. Subs kept the tempo and deserved to win. All from behind the goal, but we got a performance in a lower key game stroke ground, which is important. I always think it's a sign of a team if they can put in a good performance, kind of the energy in that in a game like that, where you go into the smaller ground and it's the potential banana skin and everything. If you're totally professional and at it, that's got to be a positive, yeah.
Aye. That's how the game got described to me. Like it was a professional sort of turned up, won the game comfortably. Was never any real danger, Aye. Good to go up there because how often we got there and get doing as well over the years, eh?
Were we talking about that, John? Like how long it took Hibs to break the duck at winning in the Highlands? Because it seemed to be forever, didn't it? Like until we eventually did it.
Aye, we mentioned that. I can't remember how long it was for us to get a win. I remember it was ages for us to actually get a goal up there, just purely because I happened to be there when it was Colin Nishwa either. I don't know when it was that we got the win, but I think there just seems to be fixtures and grounds that we go to where you think, oh fuck, we've not got a good record there, and it happens far too
Easter
frequently.
Road.
Easter Road. Well,
aye. Alan Woodhouse said a forgettable first half, but an assured, controlled performance in the second 45. Levitt made the difference when he came on. He was excellent. Shame to concede at the end, but job very much done. Great support too, although the drum got a bit annoying at times. I think Levitt might be one of the I feel like we dig Levitt out, but also when he signed, I tipped him to be one of our best players. I wonder if this change to the midfield is going to either make or break him, where he can come in and flourish. He definitely made a difference on Saturday when the radio were really enthusing about him.
Though it comes back to the point you were making about the bench, the standard of the bench. So if he's on the bench, you still want to be able to bring players on that aren't. You're not going to see a big drop off coming on, and maybe if he can get a bit of confidence back and all that, because I'm sure he's been affected by being hammered by people, including us, but especially social media and that over the last few weeks, that maybe we can start seeing the good bits that we did see at the start of the season again, and we're not going to see. So he comes off the bench and you go, oh, he can make a difference now because they're tired and he's fresh, that kind of thing. And it's not bringing on a young laddie like that Motherwell bench. It's like you need the bench to be of a good standard. And on the Block 7, did you see them all with their faces on Sports Scene? They'll be fucking raging.
Oh, they not blurred out.
Sports Scene didn't know.
There was Alan's point about the drum. I clocked through the week that the bagpipes are going to be allowed at the Euros, and it's like, can you imagine? Like you've got the week off work, you've managed to bag a couple of tickets. It's the experience of a fucking lifetime. You're out drinking all day. You get to the stadium nice and early, a couple of pints because in Germany you can have a couple of pints in the stadium. You're all set. And then the person sits in front of you and pulls out the bagpipes, you'd be fucking livid, wouldn't you?
Once the first 3 songs are done, you're fucked, eh? Because everybody likes Scotland to play Flowery Scotland, and the other one, Can't mind Cathedral or something. And that's it. Other than that, you're like, fuck me, man, it's just a noise, eh?
Aye. Yeah, and they're loud right next to them. Like they're loud anyway, but if you're right next to it,
so are we saying that we hate the bagpipes, or that we just think that there's a time and a place for them?
Time and a place. Bagpipes are all right.
And limited period of time as well, because I do like them, and I do like I do really like it. But
piping the bride in, piping the bride out, and then for the folk to the top table, and that's it.
And the 3 songs I think that I mentioned, that's it. That's it. Like what's that? 10 minutes.
Aye.
Play the 3 done.
It's like at the England games, there's a prick with the trumpet or whatever. Can you like if that was your seat next to you, you'd be going, oh fuck me. And we want to swap. You can. Right, Leo Noblecop said, job done, good minutes, full commitment, and because we won, no one shat it. Which is good minutes from the 0th minute to the 90th.
I'm reluctant to over-egg it, and I'm not going to, but I am mindful of the fact that we downplay victories and we massively overplay defeats. There should be relevant credit for having progressed through to the next round of the Cup, for having beat Inverness, who is traditionally a bogey team, especially at what's their stadium called, the Cali Stadium.
Is
I
it
forget.
like Turnic Tea Cakes Stadium or something like that, or is it
Oh,
something like
have they gone
Individual
for
Energy
the
Stadium, or I can't remember. I think it's something to do with energy.
someone bought the naming rights for their stadium, right?
Aye.
That makes things challenging for me. But aye, go back to my original point. Like I think folk, who was it? You, Matty? We were talking about it. Someone was saying like it's a game that we're expected to win.
Mhm.
Right, well we've won it, but we just go right. Well we've won it. That's it. We didn't acknowledge the victory, really.
Aye, I have the chat through the week on one of the forums about that. Just saying it's like it's churlish almost to kind of not give the credit for it. But folk, and again, it comes back to folk digging in their heels because they've decided they didn't want Montgomery. So you can get that in early to say, doesn't matter if you win this one because it doesn't really count because you're expected to win. I think it's unfair. It's a game of football. It's difficult to win games of football. So when we do it, you need to be able to say well done, and that was a good result and a good performance, and the team do deserve a bit of praise for it, I think.
I agree.
Right, Neil Boyle said good win and controlled the game from start to finish. Found them difficult to break down first half, but never looked threatened. Forwards scoring was very encouraging, and that's a good point as well, John, isn't it, about the forwards scoring.
I thought the forward scoring, but I thought one of the other things that was evident throughout the highlights as well was the shots for range. That was something that we've been critical of, and aye, that's good. I'm not saying that every shot for range is going to go in, but it's got to be far preferable to see a shot for range than find yourself in a position like that and then taking the easy pass sideways.
And for my leader, Colin, that's 2 goals in 4 games for him. He's going to be happy with that, you think?
Yeah.
Good. Right. Chris said, through to the next round, that's the important thing. Not Levitt's biggest fan, but made a massive difference in the second. Monty has realised he needs to make changes to the formation, so full praise to him. And the half Monty said, we'll get no credit for the win, just got to get a run going. Hope we put Warnock in his place next week.
Oh, fuck. These are the daft things that happen in football as well. Like, you mind the article that Warnock had where he was talking about Montgomery playing in his side and how Hibs fans will love him, like he's got that working class spirit, blah blah blah. And now it's like Darth Vader and fucking Obi-Wan, no Obi-Wan, but Han Solo. It's fucking shite because that like if Hibs, and this is the sort of typical Hibs thing where you start thinking about it, you're like, it's fucking Neil Warnock. Like he's going to teach. That'll be the headlines. Like he's teaching Montgomery a lesson. Like there's still life in the old dog, all that sort of shit. Can we have it one game, please, where we didn't have that? Like the headline is reversed, where Montgomery makes Warnock realise that he's too old and too out of touch to be managing a football team.
Well, the good news, John, is it wasn't Han Solo, it was Luke Skywalker. It kind of have been like,
oh, Luke Skywalker.
like,
sorry, see, I'm
and,
a big Star Trek fan. I'm no.
And Luke Skywalker wins, and then he beats Darth Vader. So let's go with that one.
Right, okay.
Fucking hell.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Fucking hell.
It's only been out for about 60 years.
Sorry. Susan said that's what I like about being a Hibee and a wee roller coaster emoji. And Ryan Moore said, got to be happy with that massive game of the weekend. We can now look forward to. Speaking of looking forward to things, the draw was also made for the Cup. Next round today. We've got Rangers at home. John, what were your first thoughts on the draw?
Initially, I hadn't even realised that the draw had been made. I thought it was going to be after the Airdrie game. And then I saw someone, Leon Robocop, saying that it was Rangers, for fuck's sake. And I went, fuck, what's that? What's happening with them now? Turns out we got them in the Cup. And my initial reaction was, it'll be a different team that plays them, hopefully a team and a support that's feeling a wee bit buoyant rather than the reverse.
And same question you, Colin.
It's about a month's time we'll be in it, so hopefully we've got a chance to get a bit of momentum. I watched it on TV and I knew it was going to be Rangers because there were only 2 teams left, so I was kind of going like, hopefully come out fucking first out of the 2 because I wouldn't fancy going through there because you get a fuck all. You seen it yesterday with Erie, like they're making up excuses why they're not sending Rangers players off for them now, like rather than just apply the rules. We're getting we're getting players fucking penalties against us for head knocks now, and they're getting straight leg to the ankle, and it's fine. So you've got no chance there. Even at Easter Road, you can't rely on the rules being applied. So, but I would still rather it was Easter Road. Wouldn't be my first choice. I always want the easiest team in the draw, but then Celtic usually get the more Hearts, so you're left with what you get, Because there was more of the big teams left, I mean, you look at it, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, they're all above us. Well, Aberdeen aren't, but Aberdeen, Kilmarnock above us in the league, Hearts above us in the league, Celtic, Rangers. So it's only Livingston or Morton.
Morton.
We put Motherwell out yesterday, so that was who I would have ideally got. But aye, if it's at home, it's better than being through there, isn't it?
The decisions like Goldson's got away with 2 studs up tackles this week. Kind of like their first goal that they scored against Livingston. VAR check decided it was fine. Boys dodged a red card. That one. And see when you see what the St Mirren player got sent off for. Did you see the St Mirren red card through the week? I think it was on Tuesday.
The boy that
Wednesday. The boy's done everything he can to pull out the tackle. Like he's,
I did see it. Yeah.
St Mirren appealed it and got the appeal rejected as well. And then you watch. It just blows my mind.
It's wild.
I reckon how. Well, I think more and more people now. I think this is one of the benefits of VAR. There's more and more people are now coming in to say it's no like an honest mistake in inverted commas that they used to put it down. Now it's like it's very, very clear. These are conscious decisions to favour these clubs, and it's because of the fucking palaver that they cause if you do something against them.
You're right, but I watched Sports Scene this morning, and you've got the pundits telling you why they didn't send them off. Oh, well, the player didn't fall down there, so he's basically played advantage, so he never got it. That was why Yogi and Kenny Miller said it wasn't a red card. And then the second booking, that was 100% a second booking. Could argue it would be a soft red, but it's definitely a booking. I never booked him there because the first booking was a bit soft.
Aye.
Oh, right, but it was booked there, no? So what you would be telling us if it was a Hibs player is, doesn't matter if that booking's a self-booking, it's a booking and he's silly to be going into challenges like that. But because it's them, it's all right. It's fucking mental how the pundits try and persuade you that it's okay that the referee fucked that up.
Aye.
You
get the referees when Yuan's red card at Celtic. The 2 booking, the refs getting it kind of
overhead kicks.
I've got that kind of you've booked already, and that's a booking test. I've no choice. Well, you fucking have got a choice because you're choosing not to fucking send them off.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's why I've just seen Goldson's challenge or one of them. I don't know. I don't know which of the 2 I've seen. The one that I have seen is where he loses control of the ball, he takes a heavy touch, and then he's, like you say, straight leg down on the boy's ankle, but the air player doesn't go down.
Yeah.
And that seems to have been, based on what I've just been scanning on Twitter there, seems to be justification for not sending Goldson off.
That's why.
That's a red.
It's also Willie Collum that's referee, right? So because he got a correct decision against him recently that they didn't like, they're hounding him out, but they still need to SFA need to show strength. So they've put him in charge, but then they're not letting him make another decision that's correct against them.
That's absolutely crazy.
And Scott Brown said that some folk just can't handle the pressure.
Aye. See him giving the referee a thumbs up there. Aye.
He got booked for one of it.
Fucking absurd.
Incredible.
What I would dearly love, and I can't know happen, but if anybody was listening, go and fucking make a noise about it. Just when it happens, and we should have been out on the back. I Ken Montgomery mentioned it in the press. But let's make a big deal. See when Wednesday night happens to us next time, and it will, when we get a player booked for something that should have been a penalty, or they didn't review a handball that they should be fucking reviewing, is go right to them, tell everybody we've written to the SFA, make a big fucking song and dance, get it in the papers.
Play the game, Let's play the game. You've set the rules now. Let's fucking use them.
And let's do it, because we need to shine a light on this kind of shit, because it's fucking awful.
And it's just as John said there, it's just like the barrage is shite. Like we get it on the Twitter if we were to dare say anything. But even if you look at any of the stuff on Twitter when these videos are posted, they'll just find it's just what about it. And they'll just find a reason, like Kenny Miller and Yogi have done there, find a reason why, well, Celtic player never got booked for a tackle like that. But that doesn't matter, he's fucking straight like the cunt. Like, Goldson must be the most protected player. I can't say Hibs podcast, but he must be the most
it's
protected
unreal.
player in the league. It's incredible.
You wonder what photographs he's got. It's like the only explanation because the boy gets the
He's a
punch
handball every second
footballs
week.
about and I think is John frozen or is, oh no, you're moving. You're deep in concentration of John. I thought for a minute we maybe lost you.
Absolutely amazed by that non-red card. Like, did he even get booked?
No.
I think so. Go and John, have a look at the Rangers' first goal against Livingston for last week. I just watched Goldson and that.
Midweek.
His mental, absolutely mental.
Is that the one where he's sort of juggling the ball?
No, he's high-footed, the boy. He's high-footed it.
He's run in, his foot studs up at thigh height, and he goes straight into the player. They're straight into the defender, and he's not the one that scores, and they just go, that's fucking goal. VAR review, VAR checks every goal.
And the boy that scored the goal yesterday, the second goal, he was the one that should have been sent off to.
Aye. Anyway, the good thing about drawing them in the cup is A, will be on the telly, and B, there's a particular game that will get shown loads as they kind of talk in the build up, and there'll be a wee feature on the cup final and all that kind of thing. So we get to relive some of that stuff, which is never a bad thing.
It's bound to be Sunday, because Sunday was saying they play Thursday night, so and the European trophy line.
That's a good thing for us as well. I always say, like, if you get them on the back of European night, it's a good time to play the Old Firm. Yeah. Right, that's us out of time. We'll be back with extra time on Wednesday. Might go out Tuesday night, depending on how I publish things. So if you're a subscriber, what is it? You asking what? Why?
It'll be a surprise.
No, right.
For all of us.
The real reason, right? And so I've created extra work for myself, right? So you can subscribe now on Patreon, and you can subscribe our YouTube channel, right? And if you go to YouTube, there's like a members section, and so when I publish the videos onto YouTube, I have to do one for subscribers that only subscribers get the link to, and that's those that are on Patreon or Hubwave. I have to do one for members, right? Same video, but for members only. And then I have to do one for like the free one for the public that'll have the adverts in it. And if you try to schedule them, it doesn't work for some of the different settings. So the easiest thing to do is just publish them as I've done it, and just release them there and then. So it might be Tuesday night unless I get up early on Wednesday, which I probably will only get. I know it's 6 o'clock anyway, but which is when they release. So anyway, right, you can get these. Extra time will be out on at the latest Wednesday morning, but potentially Tuesday night. We've no set on a topic yet. And then we'll have on Thursday a week at Hibs as well. Both of these episodes are subscriber exclusives. And you can get it at Patreon or YouTube. And if you don't want to sign up to anything, you can subscribe at our YouTube anyway. We've been farting about with these YouTube shorts, or I have recently. I've found out how to do them, and so I've just been spamming the fucking thing, but it's quite good fun and some good stuff on there, so have a look. Right, thanks very much for tuning in. Once again, for the folk who... changing rooms, Colin, you mentioned it. The 26th of February at Easter Road Stadium at 7 o'clock. Myself, John and Colin will be at the changing rooms drop-in. And we'll be doing a wee talk about mental health and doing the podcast and the effect that Hibs have on your sanity, pretty much. So if anybody's in the area, there's no cost at all. You can pop in. We'd be happy to say hello, or no speak to you at all if you prefer. Like some folk would, that's a better option. But it's a really useful initiative. We're really supportive of the changing room. So we'll be there 26th of February in Easter Road Stadium. Aye, right, that's us out of time. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink